was good, and I liked his performance as John Ryder. I mean, from the beginning. Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome back to the 80s week. I am Random Ross, and it is the next episode in our series of 80s horror movie reviews, and today I'm reviewing The Hitcher. Yeah, The Hitcher, written by Eric Red and directed by Robert Harmon, starring Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howlett, Jeffery, DeMunn, and Janifer Jason Leigh. So this is a psychological horror thriller where a young driver named Jim Helsey is driving along on the road, delivering this car to a destination, and he sees a person hitching a ride called John Ryder, played by Rutger Hauer. And at first they start a conversation, but then things start to drastically escalate as he gets more and more unnerving, and it turns out he's an absolute psychopath, but Jim gets lucky and manages to throw him out of the car, only to find him now on the road and hunting for him. Also, he kills a few other people along the way. Also, Jim meets a young woman named Nash, played by Janifer Jason Leigh, who travels with him and ends up getting caught in this ordeal with John Ryder. And of course, he toys with them, he chases them down the road, he is a complete psychopath. And then there's even that one scene which is one of those scenes that the film's known for, where he has Jim in a truck with him and Nash tied to both ends, getting being ripped apart if it goes off. And of course, we don't see it happen, but we know it's happened. They leave that to our imagination. And of course, Jim, eventually has this whole standoff with John Ryder, and, Jim ends up getting the better of him, and then, of course, kills John. And that's the end of that. So what did I like about this film? Well, Rutger Hauer, he's always good in a lot of stuff he's in, whether it be sci-fi or horror, because he's known for them films like, Blade Runner, and also, others like The Hobo with a Shotgun, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original 1992 movie, and of course, The Hitcher. And yeah, he rarely plays a protagonist in stuff, but I've seen him play a protagonist in one movie, Bone Daddy. I think that was a psychological thriller. But yeah, Rutger Hauer in this was good, and I liked his performance as John Ryder. I mean, from the beginning, I knew there was something off about him, and how creepy he was, and how, that he's a killer. And yeah, it was just really enjoyable. I also thought C. Thomas Howlett was good as Jim, or Jimmy. How he was like our protagonist. And he also looked really young in it. I've seen him in a lot of stuff in later years when he's a bit older. So seeing him young, it's like, wow, look how young he is. I can't name off the top of my head what I've seen him in, but I've seen him in stuff. Also, Janifer Jason Leigh as Nash, kind of like a love interest, a love story forming there, but of course, it doesn't end well for her. And, this film's also gritty, great outback locations, on the road and stuff. Also, we get Jeffery DeMunn in this as Captain Estridge or something, and he's like a police captain in this who gets, because the police get involved and stuff. And I thought, his character was okay and stuff. So yeah, this was also quite intense in some parts. Quite intense, and I also think that this movie, did this movie do well when it came out? Doesn't look like it, but I imagine must have. Yeah, it's a cult classic film. Cult classic. When I first saw this film, it was actually a 2007 remake with Sean Bean, local man for me, Sean Bean, Sheffielder. And I'm aware that they did a sequel nearly 20 years later as well, called The Hitcher 2 We've Been Waiting, which I believe doesn't feature the late Rutger Hauer. But if you ask me, this one, and I've never seen the second Hitcher though, The Hitcher 2. I've seen the remake, but not The Hitcher 2. But this one, yeah, I watched it one afternoon when I was just like, had nothing else on. It was about an hour and a half to 100 minutes. I thought, yeah, I'm glad I watched this film. It's like a whole chase scene going on in this movie. And also, you know, there are bits that do delve into like the action thriller zone, but still maintains its horror in there. But you know, like I say, I can kind of see how it bombed when it came out, but how it's earned its cult status in time. So yeah, what am I going to review? What I'm going to review? What am I going to rate this one? I will give The Hitcher. Yeah, I'll give it 3 video nasties out of 5. 3 video nasties out of 5 for The Hitcher. So there you go. There is my review for that one. Have you seen it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share with your friends and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that notification bell. I've been Random Ross and this has been Back to the 80s Week. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more 80s style horror. So, until then, don't have nightmares.